Hi everyone, Miss Andronicus here. We're looking at index laws, law 4 power to another power, part 3. So let's go through some examples. So now we already have the fraction and we're raising the entire fraction to the power. So once again, every big number within the bracket needs to have a little number or an index. So we need to allocate a 1 next to anything that doesn't already have an index. So then we raise all of those indices to the power. So it's 2, 1 times 3, A 2 times 3 over D 4 times 3. Everything has to be raised to that power. So 2 to the power of 3, A to the power of 6 over D to the power of 12. Of course, then if it's low enough and you can calculate it, you go ahead and do that. So 2 to the power of 3, 2 times 2 times 2, 8A to the power of 6, D to the power of 12. If you can go ahead and simplify it again as per law 2, then go ahead and do that. Okay, let's have a look at B. Gets a little more complex, of course, as usual. Everything without an index needs 1. So you have to allocate 1. So let's have a look at this. That needs a 1. A's got an index already. C needs an index. 2 needs an index. F needs an index. Everything without an index in that bracket needs to be raised to the power. So then we can raise all of these indices to that power. So it starts to get quite complex. Let's have a look. So 7, 1 times 4. If we write it out the long way, we do everything. 1 times 4. A, 3 times 4. C, 1 times 4. Everything. You don't have to do this all the time, but when you get into the habit, until you get into the habit, it's good to do it. 1 times 4. Okay, now we've got everything there. We can go and calculate our powers. So 7 to the power of 4, A to the power of 12, C to the power of 4, over 2 to the power of 4, not finished, F to the power of 4. Now we can continue on and try to simplify as much as possible where possible. Okay, so when we look at 7 to the power of 4, we can see that it's 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. Now that starts to get quite big, so because of that, we can just leave it as 7 to the power of 4. Okay, A, 12, C, 4. 2 to the power of 4, though, is small enough, so we change that to 16. F to the power of 4. Nothing can be simplified any further, and that's it. So please make sure that you write this down. Every big number or variable needs a little number or an index. You must remember that, okay? I'm going to go through just a couple more examples, of course, getting a little bit harder every single time, okay? So let's have a look at this. We go connecting up everything, all index with the power, or we add in the power. So let's have a look. Let's do one bracket at a time. So A, 4 times 3 is 12. D, 2 times 3 is 6. F, 2 times 3 is 6. Multiplied by, then we have a look. A to the power of 5. D to the power of 5, F to the power of 15. Okay, so we have all of that happening there. Then we simplify it. So we need to look across as like any regular fraction, top times top, bottom times bottom. So we bring it all together. So you end up with A, 12 plus 5, D, 6 plus 5, F, 6 plus 15, because all those bases are the same. So A, 17, D, 11, over F, 21. Can't simplify it any other way. Okay, so go one step at a time. Last example for you is this one. So again, I'm bringing in some of the other laws that you have seen before. So this needs a power, and then we connect it all. So A, 4 times 3 is 12. F to the power of 0, remember what that is? That is just going to be 0, because it's 0 times 3. Normally, on its own, that would be 1, yeah? But because it's a power of 0, we want to raise it. So f to the power of 0, 0 times 3 just stays f to the power of 0, 0 times 3 is 0, 2, and c to the power of 9. Okay, let's have a look at this now. We simplify as much as possible. So that is just 1, so that cancels, a to the power of 12. And then we've got 2 to the power of 3, we know is 8, c to the power of 9. And that's how you would simplify that one. So don't swap this for 1 too quickly. You still need to say, well, 4 times 3, 0 times 3 is 0, so it stays as 0. Okay, so just be careful of that example. Here are some for you to try. Please pause the video. 5 is an absolute challenge, and I'll go through it in a moment. Okay, so some answers here. Going through it, very straightforward. Everything was allocated an index, of course, as mentioned. Having a look at this one, raise powers first and then calculate and simplify. Okay, so I calculated that because it's quite a low number, and then I brought it all together and simplified it as per law 1. Have a look at this challenge question. A to the power of 4 over a to the power of x. That's a subtraction. So you could say a to the power of 4 divided by a to the power of x. You would subtract 4 or x from 4, which ends up being a to the power of 4 subtract x. We don't know what x is. That's actually the answer. You leave it like that. Okay, just a bit of a challenge for you. Thanks guys. Ciao for now.